The world of Pokemon is one of many emotions, not unlike our own world. For many of us, this world played a huge part in our childhoods, and felt just as real to us as any other place. After all, how many of us didn't want a dog or a cat growing up? Pokemon were like the much cooler alternative house pet, and I'm sure most would agree that if we were able to switch universes to the Pokemon universe, we would. But now hold on there, young lady, don't be so sure of that. Yes, the world of Pokemon is filled with adventure, wonder, and excitement, but there is a much darker, much more sinister side to the world just waiting to be discovered, just around the corner, if one knows where to look. The Pokédex is the device trainers use to track each and every Pokémon in the vast reaches of the land. With it, they're able to identify every freak of nature they come across, and learn a thing or two about them. Seems harmless enough, right? That's where you're wrong. Some of the information you can come across in the games is information you wish would have stayed hidden, because once you learn some of the things certain Pokemon get up to in their free time, you start questioning the E for everyone rating. Today, I thought I would go over some of the absolute most disturbing, creepy, and all-around scary entries together with you all, and in a way also count down some of the creepiest Pokemon there is. And believe me, there are a lot more than just 10. I could definitely do a follow-up video with some more creepy Pokemon if you all want it. Here goes, strap yourselves in. Number 10. Drowzee. Drowzee is a psychic Pokemon who can easily make people fall asleep. It's then able to sense the dreams of these people, and likes to eat them through their noses. Say what now? If that wasn't bad enough, listen to what its Pokedex entry says in Pokemon Silver. It remembers every dream it eats. It rarely eats the dreams of adults because children's are much tastier. Okay, so this yellow anteater looking douchebag sneaks into the rooms of children and feeds on their dreams. Red flag, bad sign. It's said that Drowzee loves fun dreams, and becomes ill if it eats a bad dream. Bad dream? Why it's even eating dreams in the first place is anyone's guess. But yeah, I don't know about you, but the thought of one of these abominations standing over me in the middle of the night, sucking my subconscious thoughts out of me, greatly upsets me. It's also said that if you think you've had a good dream but you simply can't remember it, a Drowzee has probably eaten it. They just steal all the fun right out of you when you're not even looking. Number 9. Haunter. Haunter has throughout the Pokemon franchise always been a bit of a creeper. It is, after all, a literal ghost. It usually resides in dark and abandoned caves, but has been shown to hang around in, say, the old chateau from Pokemon Pearl, Diamond, and Platinum. This place gave me nightmares when I was little, and that alone gives Haunter a spot on this list here. Let's have a look at some of Haunter's most charming Pokedex entries. How about this one from Crystal? It hides in the dark, planning to take the life of the next living thing that wanders close by. Oh, okay, it actually wants to kill you. How about this one from Silver? Its tongue is made of gas. If licked, its victim starts shaking constantly until death eventually comes. Good golly, could you imagine a worser fate? Shaking uncontrollably until you eventually perish? That's just sadistic. What gives, Haunter? Charmander, you poor thing! You were doomed all this time and we never knew! Oh, now he's gone. So, you know, after all of this, you would imagine Nintendo or Game Freak would take it easy, right? They couldn't possibly make it worse with future games. Wrong again. This is Haunter's entry in Pokemon Sun. It strikes at humans from total darkness. Those licked by its cold tongue grow weaker with each passing day until they die. You know, I think I'm gonna postpone that trip to the Pokemon world. Number 8. Gengar. Gengar is the final form of Ghastly, and Haunter is of course the middleman. Is it so unexpected to imagine Gengar being worse than his preceding forms? Usually found in cities and back alleys during the night, this smug-looking a-hole loves stalking its victims and adores seeing the look of terror on their faces. For example, it sometimes pretends to be your shadow before it starts acting strangely, causing the victim to be very confused before it jumps out at you, giving you a heart attack. How do you know if a Gengar is nearby? The temperature drops significantly. Sometimes, on a dark night, your shadow thrown by a streetlight will suddenly and startlingly overtake you. It is actually a Gengar running past you, pretending to be your shadow. Now Gengar, much like Haunter, is well known in the Pokemon universe for being an all-around unpleasant and creepy companion to have by your side. Let's see how the most recent Pokemon games describe them. Should you feel yourself attacked by a sudden chill, it is evidence of an approaching Gengar. There is no escaping it. Give up. That's correct, the game is practically telling you that fighting back is pointless. What's more frightening than an opponent you cannot beat? How about an opponent that might be more similar to you than you first imagined? It apparently wishes for a traveling companion. Since it was once human itself, it tries to create one by taking the lives of other humans. Gengar was once human. Let that sink in. But don't let it sink in for too long, otherwise Gengar might just catch up to you. Number 7. Glalie. Glalie is a round, ball-shaped, icy Pokemon with a rough exterior and horns on its head. Could it be the devil? No, the devil hangs around in warm, heated climates. Glalie, on the other hand, will not melt, no matter the temperature. It's that cool. It looks quite intimidating, doesn't it? If I was a weaker Pokemon, I wouldn't want to mess with this one. After all, as Pokemon Ruby's Pokedex says, Glalie has a body made of rock, which it hardens with an armor of ice. This Pokemon has the ability to freeze moisture in the atmosphere into any shape it desires. Now that seems innocent enough, right? That's because you haven't heard what Sapphire has to say about it. Glalie has the ability to freely control ice. For example, it can instantly freeze its foe solid. After immobilizing its foe in ice, this Pokemon enjoys eating it in leisurely fashion. E for everyone, get out of here! Here we have a Pokemon that flat out enjoys and relishes in freezing its enemies and eating them piece by piece! I sure do hope it doesn't keep them alive for the process. If that wasn't morbid enough, with Pokemon Sun and Moon's new Mega Evolutions, Glalie meets a horrible fate. The excess energy from Mega Evolution spilled over from its mouth, breaking its jaw. It spews endless blizzards. It envelops prey in its mouth, freezing them instantly, but its jaw is dislocated, so it's unable to eat them. Oh my god, Glalie is gonna starve to death and it's all your fault! Can you imagine the pain and suffering this poor little ball of ice has to go through every time it transforms? I don't even want to think about it, let alone think about what it does to its victims. Let's move on. Number 6. Phantump. Phantump is a more recent Pokemon that first appeared in Pokemon X and Y. It looks innocent enough, doesn't it? It looks quite adorable. But don't let its looks fool you. There's more than what meets the eye with this one. According to old tales, these Pokemon are stumps possessed by the spirits of children who died while lost in the forest. That is just horrifying. The spirit of children who have passed away after being lost in the forest turn into these things. It is said that travelers who enter forests are sometimes led astray by these phantoms, and the Pokémon are able to imitate the sounds of children's voices. Perhaps they aren't simply imitating, but are actually reliving the memories of their past lives. Now it gets even worse in Pokémon Sun. These Pokémon are stumps possessed by the spirits of children who died in the forest. Their cries sound like eerie screams. Here's what intrigues me about these Pokémon. The concept of death in the Pokémon world has always been a tricky one. Pokémon don't seem to die in battle, they simply faint, but we do know that they pass away someday. What we hardly ever see are human graves. There are a few instances of hauntings and such things in the games, yes, but no actual depictions of death, right? Of course not. These are games made primarily for the whole family to enjoy. And yet, interesting things like phantoms show up. Their place of origin is dark, yet strangely fascinating. Number 5. Cacturne. Cacturne is, as its name implies, a cacti-looking beast that also somewhat resembles a scarecrow. It almost never moves during the day so it can hold moisture, and begins its hunt during nighttime. Cacturnes are most commonly found in the desert, and apparently they lived in such climates for so long that their blood has turned into sand. No idea how that makes sense. It's common knowledge that the desert can be a pretty terrible place to live in with no source of food or drink around, but Cacturnes have its way of surviving, as demonstrated in its Pokédex entry from Sapphire. If a traveler is going through a desert in the thick of night, Cacturne will follow in a ragtag group. The Pokémon are biding their time, waiting for the traveler to tire and become incapable of moving. What happens next is left up to your imagination. Just imagine being in the desert on a cold, foggy night and looking behind you only to see that the cacti that was previously behind you has moved closer. And no matter what you do, no matter how far you run, it's always there. That's quite horrifying. Number 4. Drifloon. Drifloon is a pretty cute Pokémon. It looks harmless enough and quite innocent. Don't judge a book by its cover. Despite its balloony exterior, this Pokémon might be hiding something murky. It tugs on the hands of children to steal them away. However, it gets pulled around instead. In its very first appearance, we get the impression that something is up with this little guy. In Heart Gold, it gets even more alarming. It is whispered that any child who mistakes Drifloon for a balloon and holds onto it could wind up missing. What are these things doing? What are they up to? Where do they take these children? These Pokémon are called the signpost for wandering spirits. Children holding them sometimes vanish. Stories go that it grabs the hands of small children and drags them away to the afterlife. It dislikes heavy children. So these monsters take children with them to the afterlife. Is it because the children are at the brink of death, or because Drifloon itself makes sure the children never return? Could you imagine being a young child becoming separated from your parents when you grab hold of a cute Pokémon, only to be lifted hundreds of meters into the air never to return? It gets even creepier when you read up on the Pokédex entries for Drifloon's evolution Drifblim in Sun and Moon. There was once an incident in which a man took a trip riding a Drifblim, only to go missing. Even while under careful observation, large flocks of Drifblim flying at dusk will inexplicably disappear from view. I'll ask again, where do they go? What's going on here?
What's going on here?
Number 3. Duskull. Unlike Drifloon, this Pokemon looks quite sinister, albeit still with a goofy charm around it. Does it make you feel better to know that it's based on the Grim Reaper? This Pokemon can usually be found in the forest, hunting its prey. It loves the crying of children. It startles bad kids by passing through walls and making them cry. If it finds bad children who won't listen to their parents, it will spirit them away. Or so it's said. With these two chilling Pokédex entries, we get the general idea of what Duskull is. It's a bogeyman, a creature parents tell their children about to make them behave. Only, this creature actually exists. It's out there, and if things couldn't get any less good, here's what Pokemon Ruby has to say about Duskull. Duskull can pass through any wall, no matter how thick it may be. Once this Pokemon chooses a target, it will doggedly pursue the intended victim until the break of dawn. If that's not frightening, I don't know what is. If it sets its sights on you, you can run, but you cannot hide. And you'll have to keep moving all throughout the night to even have a chance of returning home safely. I guess you'll have a great story to tell if you make it through though, right? Number 2. Hypno. Hypno made it to number 1 in my top 10 Pokemon Creepypastas video, so of course it was gonna be on this list as well. Hypno is the evolution of Drowzee, and can therefore also put people to sleep with its pendulum device, and eat their dreams. It does this whenever it's hungry. If you see one, it's best to avoid eye contact, which can be somewhat challenging. As a matter of fact, putting people to sleep might not just be what this Pokemon does to its victims. It carries a pendulum-like device. There once was an incident in which it took away a child it hypnotized. Apparently, Hypno has kidnapped children before. Not an adult, no. The Pokédex entry just had to specifically state that it took away a child. Much like Drifloon, no one knows just where this child ended up and what happened to it. It's assumed that it never returned. On one hand, you'd like to know just what happened, but on the other hand, do you really? There's actually a freakishly morbid poem that details just what could have happened here, called Hypno's Lullaby. Viewer discretion is advised. That poem is not for kids. Just with one simple sentence, this Pokemon turned from simply being strange to being horrifying. That says something about the writing in these games, and just how much you can get away with in a, once again, E for everyone game. Number 1. Don't hate me for this one, okay? Bear with me. Mimikyu. Now you might be confused. Mimikyu isn't scary, is it? It's quite adorable, isn't it? It's dressed in a cute little disguise that was made to resemble Pikachu in order for it to make friends, because it was so lonely. Now that's actually pretty sad. But there might be a good reason as to why it's been left alone for so long. A lonely Pokemon. It conceals its terrifying appearance beneath an old rag, so it can get closer to people and other Pokemon. According to this Pokedex entry, Mimikyu's true appearance is absolutely terrifying and causes people and Pokemon to flee at the mere sight of it. Either this Pokemon has been very unfortunate, or it's genuinely a petrifying beast. What's interesting about this Pokemon is that if you attack it, it will change forms from its disguised form into its busted form. While in this form, its Pokedex entry will change. After going through all the effort of disguising itself, its neck was broken. Whatever is inside is probably unharmed, but it's still feeling sad. Ow, its neck is broken, but it's still standing. And it's still sad. Don't think you can fool me, you foul beast. No, but this entry offers some sympathy to the poor creature. Maybe it's not all bad. Its actual appearance is unknown, A scholar who saw what was under its rag was overwhelmed by terror and died from the shock. Okay, wow. Mimikyu's true form literally kills you the moment you lay eyes on it. It doesn't try to hunt you down or pursue you or anything. No, you just instantly die. It could be argued that this scholar was a huge wimp and just couldn't take it, but I'm not willing to take that chance. I really don't want to know what's under that rag. Do you? Yeah, probably, but still. Stop playing around with my emotions, Pokemon. First I feel bad for this thing, then I'm scared, then I feel bad, and then I'm scared again. That almost makes it worse. Could you imagine being out on a stroll in the woods, only to have a Mimikyu without its disguise on to jump out at you and instantly give you a heart attack? You'd never know what hit you. That alone is enough to creep me out. It's still cute though, and quite lovable, but yeah. And those have been 10 quite creepy and unsettling Pokédex entries. If there's a Pokemon you think I missed, let me know in the comments and I might include it in a future video. Because trust me, there's more to talk about with these games. Thanks for watching everyone, stay awesome, and go catch them all. Goodbye.